Hello, everyone. I have the beautiful Miss Myrah Moss on here with me today. She's going to share with us initially about what's going on, give us some planetary updates. But I wanted to share with you guys, I started my spiritual awakening about 3.5 years ago. And as I began my awakening, I woke up and I needed to find out what's going on. I had no clue what's going on. And I had this insatiable appetite to find out what's happening with me. Um, to be honest, I was happy because I was in a place of stagnancy that I could not figure out how to get out of. But when I had my spiritual awakening, it's like I woke up and I ran, and I had several different teachers to just appear in my life at different times. And this has been the most fulfilling journey of my life. And so I wanted to have Miss Myrah on so she can share with us a little bit about what's going on with the planet right now. And then we'll go into some planetary, what do we call it? The Taurus and the Scorpio. What is that called? The placements?
Oh yeah, your energy,
It's
your sun sign and your spiritual energy and balance with that. So yeah,
okay.
that's what we're dealing with the Taurus Scorpio for you.
Okay.
The axis
Okay.
of energy, I guess maybe that's what you're asking.
Okay. That's the axis of energy for
Yeah,
any sign.
axis.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So Miss Myra and I was speaking before we started. She was going into such good information, and I wanted to hurry up and jump on so you guys can get into the conversation. We were discussing how when your sun sign, for instance, my sun sign is a Taurus,
Hmm.
but we also have to be aware of the opposite sign, and that
Hmm.
tells us a little bit more about, well, I guess it tells us the other half of who we are. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Holistic. We have to become holistic. All energy only goes 180 degrees before it has to be matched with the opposite 180 degrees, which then
Mhm.
completes a 360-degree spiral. Spirit is spiral, but it's not whole until it makes a complete um, spiral. So, like I said, 180 degrees on one half, imbalance with 180 degrees on the opposite half is how you create that 360-degree spiral and open up a vortex to access the higher vibrations in the universe. So that's your balance with your spirit. Since you're Taurus, your
Mhm.
opposite sign, Scorpio, would be your spiritual energy. So the
Mhm.
first cycle we have to complete is with our own spirit. I don't believe in 12 individual signs anymore. I believe in six axes of energy
Mhm.
because it's not till you put the two halves together do you have the whole. So we have to balance first with our own spiritual half, and that brings us to our individual wholeness. And that is what starts the spiral, the ascension of spirals, because there's many levels we have to ascend, and it starts with the first balance with your own spirit. That is the key to the universe, balance. Two halves make a whole, holistic. If it's not whole, it's not real. Anytime you're
Mhm.
looking at a part of the whole, that's the illusion. So we all have to understand what our sun sign is, which is where you came into this lifetime, and focus through your energy. And whatever your sun sign is, then your spirit would represent your opposite. So the six axes of energy is Aries opposite Libra, Taurus opposite Scorpio, Gemini opposite Sagittarius, Cancer opposite Capricorn, Leo opposite Aquarius, and then Virgo opposite Pisces. Those are the six axes of energy. So, um, so this is where we balance with that opposite half in order to bring us to our individual wholeness, which is like our individual Christhood.
Okay.
And all this is about levels. So that starts your first level of balance or wholeness. And then it's like a tag team match. That's your partner. That's your other half. And you have to give it equal as it gives you equal. Spirit needs a vessel just as much as the vessel needs the spirit. So balancing with your spirit is how you make that first spiral complete. And then all the others. Then we go to the couple level, any one-on-one. See, spiritual energy is a collective and physical is individual. You have to pull energy to create spirit. So this is why they say we're more than one is called in my name. So shall I be Father's spirit. You have to pull energy to create spirit. So once you start that first cycle, then it's going to escalate to the next level, which will be the couple level. And then it'll go to the family level. Then it'll go to like a community level of energy, the city, the state, the nation, all the way up to a global level. And then it goes to a planetary level, even a universal level. And right now, at this present time, we're in the business of becoming a star system so that we can balance with the Sirius star system, which is our ancient power, our ancestral power. So we're opening up a new age rulership in the Aquarius age that is now ready to go into balance with the Sirius star system, our ancient power. So this is how each spiral will cycle us to another level and getting to the highest levels in the universe. We're talking spiritual energy now, vibrations. Okay, we're the physical vessel to be able to channel energy from the universe, from those multitude of levels, in order to manifest and materialize that energy at the physical level. So we're the ones on ground level. There's three realms. You got the soul realm, mama's domain. You got the spirit realm, father's domain, and you got the physical realm, which is us, the physical vessels, to access the vibrations from those other two levels. The spiritual realm, that, like I said, father, he's represented. I look at the four members of the royal family, the royal God family, through the four elements. We were made in the image of the universe. So looking at the levels, the four elements is the highest you can look in order to get a perspective of how we're being influenced from the universe. So I start with the masculine, external, which is the air and fire. The air represents the father component, father spirit, righteous father spirit. Anytime we're dealing with the air element, we're dealing with the mind. So he speaks to us externally through how we think. And his role is spirit is a collective and physical is individual. So Father Spirit's role is to create a collective righteous mindset. Anytime we're dealing with the air element, we're dealing with righteousness. Father Spirit, the Father of righteousness, who is challenging us to come to a righteous way of thinking as a collective. That is his role and his job. Speaks to you through the mind, but the Father is the one who challenges us. At the planetary level, it represents Saturn. Saturn represents the planetary level of the Father. He is the Lord of Karma. He is the taskmaster. He is the one that will challenge, restrict, and limit us just to see if we're going to overcome those limitations and restrictions by staying true to our character, because Saturn is the planetary ruler of Capricorn, which is the energy of character and integrity. So that is what he's going to challenge you to come to righteous thinking when it comes to your character, by challenging you just to see how you overcome those challenges by staying true to your integrity and your character. So that is what his role is to do. Then also external and masculine is the fire element, which is the sun component. SON, the individual, and SUN, the collective at the planetary level. So The sun represents our desires and our passions. At the highest vibration, it represents our power, our creative powers, you see.
Mhm.
So that's the fire element as the sun component. That's the external, and that's the masculine, the father and the son. However, the universe is about balance.
Mhm.
That's the key to the universe. So if there's a father, there has to be a mama. There's a son, there has to be a daughter. Those are the internal feminine. They're hidden. Where father deals with the conscious mind, mama deals with the subconscious mind. She's
Mm.
the water element. She is internal and she speaks to us internally through how we feel. She
Mm.
is the ancient of ancients. So she speaks to us internally through how we feel from our ancient memory. Everything started matriarchal,
Mhm.
Black Mama Universe,
Right.
all the source of all energy vibrations. That's why
Mhm.
our ancestors came out as the original rulers with powers.
Mhm.
They could
Mhm.
fly, they could breathe underwater, they could talk telepathically with the plants, the animals, the universe, each other. We still
Mm.
have those powers, but they're subconscious. Mama's domain. Father deals with the conscious realm, mama deals with the subconscious. That's where our true powers come from, the subconscious, the entrance into our ancient memory or our Akashic records, our ancestry. That is
Mhm.
what mama dictates. She tells us where we came from, our ancient
Mm.
lineage, and father tells us where we're headed, how to move forward and fulfill our spiritual destiny and purpose. So balancing father's spirit with mama's soul in order to become whole or holistic. And mama, uh, we call her Mama Magic. First two letters of magic is Ma, because she goes outside logic and reason. That is
Mm.
father's domain, logic and reason, knowing, understanding, the air element. Mama's opposite, the water. She deals with the internal, our feelings from our antiquity. Father opens up the new age. Aquarius is the age we're have entered in our
Mhm.
evolution, this evolutionary process. That's the completion of Father's half. You see, the Aquarian age. Then we go into Mama's half. See, in the opposite rotation, from the physical, you would go from Pisces to Aquarius to Capricorn, but in the spiritual rotation, no, excuse me, you would go from uh, Pisces to Aries to
Mhm.
Taurus to Gemini in the physical rotation, but in the spiritual, it's opposite. So from Pisces to Aquarius, to Capricorn, that would be the spiritual rotation. So once we father, then the next sign is Pisces, which
Mhm.
represents the subconscious or the ultimate water. So we call Aquarius the water bearer, even though it's an air sign, it's the last air sign, because it
Mhm.
has the highest outreach. It can access the hidden waters of Mama. Pisces are the subconscious, the ultimate water, and bring it to the air or the conscious mind. So that's why it's the sign of revelation, because it
Mm.
reveals what's most hidden, which is the
Mm.
feminine polarity. The water, internal, hidden. So she speaks to you through how you feel, and she represents Mama Magic because it goes beyond logic and reason and knowing. You have to embrace her in faith and trust. Where Father speaks to you through the mind, Mama speaks to you internally through what you feel from your ancient memory. The subconscious, that's Pisces energy, the last water sign going in subconsciously to your ancient memory or your Akashic records. Like I said, everything started Major Oracle.
Mhm.
Uh, that's when we had the magic and the powers, but spirit is spiral. So it spiraled around from the matriarchal half to the patriarchal half, where things became external, the air and the fire. And then once we went into the Aquarius age, which we did in 2013, 13 is the optimal number, then
Mhm.
it came full circle back to the mama again, where it's time to balance between those two halves. You put a pin in father's half, until you bring equal balance on mama's half. And that is how we make that balance between father spirit and mama's soul to open up another level of wholeness. You see, each time we complete a spiral is how we complete this level of wholeness or open up a new vortex at a higher vibration. It's an infinite process: transformation, regeneration, and evolution of spiritual rulership. You never get there. You only complete spirals for access to the next level, where you start a new one at a higher vibration, only for access to the next and the next. Till we get into the Aquarian age, then that's when we're balanced on enough levels to evolve to a new level in spiritual rulership. Aquarius is the sign of evolution, and its opposite sign is Leo, the creative ruler. So, time to evolve a new creative rulership in the new age of Aquarius, you see. So, Mama, the magic going outside your logic and reason and your knowing. That's why she's called Mama Magic. She's also the Mama of Antiquity or Mama of Ancestry, Big Mama, Mama Universe. You know, all these titles apply to the Mama energy.
Okay.
Then, last but not least, is the Earth element, which is the daughter component. It's
Mhm.
not Mother Earth, it's daughter Earth and Mama
Mm.
Universe. You need to understand the nature of that relationship. Mama Universe, daughter Earth, you see, the water and the earth element. So the earth element deals with our values. It deals with our healing. It deals with our character. But most of all, the earth deals with our security,
Mm.
being secure from within, the daughter component. But the daughter component is the only one who hadn't reached her sacred status, you see, daughter earth. Um, we recognize the royal energy through the
Mhm.
cardinal cross, which is Aries opposite Libra and Cancer opposite Capricorn. That is the cardinal cross that activates and initiates a royal level of energy from the universe. So the so we have the prince with Aries, the cardinal fire. We
Mhm.
have the queen with Cancer, the cardinal water. We have the king with Libra, the cardinal air. The only one who hadn't reached her sacred status was daughter Earth, Capricorn. She has been the rejected stone who becomes the cornerstone. It's in her rejection and redemption the earth is transformed. Now, you have all of the energy in you. You have a full universe of energy within you. Your sun sign is just what you came into this lifetime to focus through in your
Mhm.
energy. But you have a full universe. So wherever your Capricorn is at is where you play the Cinderella role, the rejected stone who becomes the cornerstone. It's in her rejection and redemption, the earth is transformed. Now, when I say he, I'm only talking masculine or external, not
Mhm.
male. And when I say she, I'm talking internal and feminine, not female.
Okay.
Masculine and feminine. External for the masculine, internal for the feminine. You have a full spiral in you. So you just came in here to focus through your sun sign. So, daughter Earth, which represents the individual at the individual level, there's many, many levels. That's what we have to remember. At the
Mhm.
individual level, it would represent the melanated woman of
Mm.
as
Mhm.
daughter Earth, the high
Mhm.
priestess, the princess of the royal family. That's the cardinal energy of Capricorn. So, like I said, the prince, Aries, the king, Libra, the queen, Cancer. The only one who hadn't reached her sacred status was the princess, Capricorn, because she is the energy of character. And we've been in the land of illusion. Character is not respected in the land of illusion. So she was put at the bottom of the totem pole in her value. Earth is about value, but she
Mhm.
has been the rejected stone because she is the energy of character, and the illusion has nothing, wants nothing to do with character.
So
So
how was that? How would that look in the illusion? I guess. Well, I guess it really doesn't
the
matter.
melanated woman at the bottom of the totem pole in her value, okay,
Okay.
the one of character,
Mm-hmm.
daughter earth or daughter character. Like I said, the rejected stone. Some call her Sophia, in the
Mm-hmm.
Bible. They call her the philosopher's stone, the stones the builders rejected when they
Mm-hmm.
asked to be guided by their conduct. When she was offered, they rejected her. So she became the stones the builders rejected. That is the melanated woman of character who has been rejected in her value as the high priestess, you see, of the
Mm-hmm.
royal family or the princess. So she has to be redeemed in her value in order for the earth to be healed and step up in this evolutionary process of a new rulership, but
Got it.
needs to be ruled under the energy of character,
Got
spiritual character. That's what has to really be redeemed is
it.
character.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the women are the resurrectors and the men are the redeemers. But I'm going back, I'm always using the movie The Matrix. That
Mm-hmm.
was one of the most profound movies that describe this energy when it comes to the twin souls. So um, uh, Trinity had to resurrect Neil from the dead. That's why
Mm-hmm.
she played the role of the high priestess, you see, who set standards, challenging her man to rise to meet those standards to claim the love of the high priestess. As he rises to meet those standards, that is how he is resurrected out of his ego. A man can't come out of the matrix in ego. So he has to rise to meet the standards of the high priestess, and that's his resurrection. Once he's released from the matrix, then only then does he recognize her value as the high priestess, and now he will redeem her and lift her up and restore her to her value as the high priestess of the universe, the daughter, the princess, you see. So that's what's in operation as we speak, you see, her
Wow.
being redeemed in her value. And once she steps into her sacred status or is crowned as the princess of the royal family, that completes us as a star system. So we have Father Spirit, Mama Universe, the Sun, SUN of power, and Daughter Earth, the full royal family of energy. There's only four components through those four elements. So it's like the four pistons in an engine. All
Mm-hmm.
four has to be firing at their maximum in order to harmonize with each other and generate the power. If you leave one out or one unequal, you get a misfire. And Daughter Earth has been unequal in the process, and she only got crowned at the last winter solstice. And now we're completed as a star system. And now we daughter earth can go into marriage or partnership or balance with Anubis of the Sirius star system, and this is how we will balance star systems. This is how this energy will reverberate throughout the cosmos. This is the process that is occurring from the individual physical vessel all the way up to each of those levels to the highest royal energy of the universe. Those four components of elements tells you the highest vibration that you have to ascend to in order to tap into the highest royal vibrations of the universe and step up to this royal empowerment. We're coming out of a rulership of abuse of power to a humanitarian rulership. Aquarius is
Mm-hmm.
the sign of the humanitarian, and it's the one activating this evolutionary process. So it's time for us to come um, out of the abuse of power to a humanitarian rulership. That's what's being created. Anytime rulership gets stagnated, corrupted, then it's time for the Aquarian age, which is planetary ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. And Uranus disrupts,
Mm-hmm.
explodes, the status quo, when things have gotten stagnated and corrupted. That's when Uranus explodes that, out of that stagnation, going into the Aquarian age, so that we evolve to a new level based on those principles of righteousness that is dictated in the universe, you see, by those four components. The air element, spiritual righteousness. The fire element, the passion to defend righteousness.
Mm.
Uh, the water element, the compassion and the love of the mama. And the earth element, character, daughter character. Those are the four highest vibrations of the universal royal energy. And the higher you can take your vibration toward those four components is as high as you can tap in to the highest royal levels and empower yourself from that level of the universe, you see.
Oh, that's
So,
such good stuff. That's so good.
yes, yes. And right now we're in the throes of that. As a matter of fact, I'm of the adage that we're in the last cycle um, in this evolutionary process. The first six signs are the physical half. The second six signs are the spiritual half. So from Aries to Virgo is when we're dealing with the physical half of this energy
Mhm.
rotation. And this spiritual warfare, where the spirit is now um, coming in opposition to the
Mhm.
corrupted systems of the world that has become corrupted and stagnated at a global level. There's a global agenda
Mhm.
that is not really working in our best interest. So when it gets to that global level, the next level is planetary. This is what brings Big Mama to the table because she is Mama Universe. She is, and the planets are her children, especially daughter Earth. So she will come to the table. What the energy of Mama means is I will take care of your needs beyond your capability.
Whew.
Uh, that is what the energy of Mama means. When it gets too big for us to handle, then that is when Big Mama steps in. Just like when we had a physical mama who took care of our physical needs as babies beyond our capability. We had to lay up in the crib and figure out how to eat or change our diapers. We had a mama who knew what we needed even before we knew what we had a need for, and as babies that had to seem magical. Now we're stepping up in the cosmos to our cosmic mama, and now we have to trust her in that same vein. All the corruptions of the systems of the world has gotten too big for us to handle individually. So now that brings Big Mama to the table to rescue her children. And when we first started the physical aspect of this spiritual warfare to
Mhm.
counteract this corrupted system, um, it started in Aries. This last Aries energy
Mhm.
was that March 21st,
Mhm.
2022 is when the spiritual warfare began to Aries, the spiritual warrior. Aries is the Haru of the zodiac, Mars energy. He's the warrior who defends the value, and his opposite sign is Libra. Libra is the sign of righteousness. So Aries defends the value of righteousness, you see. So he started the spiritual warfare at the physical level. That is the energy that energized this spiritual warfare to counteract at the physical level the corruption that has reached the global level. And now you always go from cardinal sign to cardinal sign. So he ruled over Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. And
Mhm.
now he has passed the baton to Cancer, the next cardinal sign, which is Mama's domain.
Mhm.
She rules over Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. Now, here's the thing. Cancer, that's the energy of Kali Ma. You know who Kali Ma is? Kali Ma is
Mhm.
ancient deity. She's depicted usually as from India, but it all
Mhm.
started in blackness, okay? And she's crouched down, a skull and necklace, blade to her teeth, blood dripping down, and she's the ferocious and vicious mama who
Mm.
don't play when it comes to protecting her children, her ancient, universal, melanated, children. So, Kali Ma. But when you put Leo and Virgo together, you have Segment. Segment is the most destructive energy of the universe. So what do we got? We got Kali Ma and Segment in the next signs from Cancer. We already done the Cancer dance, and now Leo. We're in Leo now, and Virgo.
Mm.
So that is going to wrap up the physical half of this spiritual warfare. This is where
Wow.
we will see things become explosive. Okay. Kalima and Segment are now in control. So spiritual warfare in the most destructive way. Segment, they can only release her in the end times because thirst of blood is so strong to clean up the earth. They have to trap her back into captivity once her job is done. That is how ferocious she is. So this
Mm.
energy that is now becoming dominant as we complete the physical half of this astrological cycle. So that is what we're seeing now, the disruption of this physical illusion of power. Um, we want the illusion. We want the apocalypse because that means the end of the illusion. So that is what we're seeing now, this illusion being disrupted. It's not real. Anything outside of you is not real. Your power is internal. Inner spirit moves inside out, not outside in. We're energy transmitters as well as receivers. It's what we send out as to what we spiral back. Spirit is spiral. What goes around comes around. So if we're sending it out at 20%, we're going to draw it back at 20%. If we're sending it out at 80%, we're going to draw it back at 80%. It all starts from within, through the earth and the water. Your water represents your emotional happiness, and your earth represents your security. Those are too big of a burden to put on anyone's shoulders outside of yourself. Anytime you're looking at a part of the whole, that's the illusion. It's not real. It's only real when it's whole or holistic. That's that full 360 spiral. That's what opens up a vortex and accesses the energy vibration from those highest resources of the universe. So we're in the process of becoming whole or holistic. So we evolve. You only complete spirals to evolve to the new level. And now we're doing a major evolution. Anytime we go into the Aquarian age, it's time to evolve. And since it's Leo, the creative ruler, it's time to evolve a creative rulership, a new creative rulership in the Aquarian age. The fixed cross, once the cardinal cross activates this new energy vibration, then the fixed cross will set it into motion. The fixed cross is like the workhorse of the zodiac. It's the enforcers or the army, and that is Aquarius opposite Leo and Taurus opposite Scorpio. These I call the four horses of the apocalypse. They do the heavy work. So they reverse the energy from a mundane physical illusion of power to a spiritual, creative, and royal empowerment. So that has been activated. The evolution of a new age rulership, the evolution, Aquarius, of a new age rulership, Leo. In order to evolve as the new age rulers, there has to be a transformation. This is the horizontal leg of that fixed cross. There has to be a transformation, Scorpio, of our values, Taurus. So transformation means the death of the old for a rebirth of the new at a higher level. And its opposite, Taurus, is our values and our habits. So in order to transform as the new age rulers, we have to transform our values and our habits. We can't take old habits and values up to the next level. We can't be Lot's wife holding on to the issues of the past, turning into a pillar of salt when gateways are opening ahead of us to evolve us to a new level. So that is what the fixed cross is going to do. All this is being influenced from the universe, from those three cross levels. So the activation of a new level of rulership through the cardinal cross, which activates that, and then the fixed cross will set that into motion, reverse that energy so that we evolve as the new age rulers in a transformation of values, which is that energy of the fixed cross. And then that moves us to the mutable cross. Now, the mutable cross, that's the magical component because we're dealing with the threes. And the mutable cross is what adapts this whole new rotation of spiritual energy to a whole new reality in the universe. That is Gemini opposite Sagittarius and Virgo opposite Pisces. And they third time the charm, the magic of the universe, mama magic. You see, first two letters of magic is ma. So magic is mama's domain. Father's logic and reason, knowing, air element, mama, magic. You have to embrace her in faith and trust. It goes beyond you figuring it out or your knowing or your contemplation. So threes, Gemini the third sign, Virgo the sixth sign, Sagittarius the ninth sign, and Pisces the 12th sign. So those are the threes. I call Pisces the fairy godmama of the Cinderella story. Daughter Earth represents Cinderella or Capricorn energy. That is the Cinderella energy. Remember the rejected stone that becomes the cornerstone? Well, the Cinderella, that has been put at the bottom of the totem pole in her value and the physical illusion, because in the opposite, spiritual, she is of the highest value, or the high priestess. This is why Capricorn sits at the very highest peak of the astrological cycle, like the 12 o'clock hand coming in at the winter solstice. Daughter character, daughter earth, the princess. So, that's also Cinderella energy, the servant girl, the one that was put at the bottom of the totem pole in her value, who ends up marrying the prince and becomes the queen. That is what Cinderella means, from the bottom to the top. Remember, spirit spiral, what goes around comes around. Those at the bottom are the ones who ends up most at the top. So that is the daughter character, daughter earth, the individual vessel as the melanated woman who has been rejected in her value and now has to be redeemed and lifted up, because the polar, I only deal in energy, the polar opposite energy of black woman is white man. Okay? Opposite of black is white, opposite of woman is man. So that's what the wounds of Willie Lynch were meant to do. Keep the black woman down in her energy so the white man can stay on top. So how do you take him down? You simply lift her up. He automatically goes down. So the redemption of the rejected stone, who becomes the cornerstone, it's in her rejection and redemption the earth is transformed. So when you lift up daughter earth or daughter character, her value as the high priestess and the princess, that is how David slays Goliath. This was demonstrated because when they wounded us as a royal family, that is what they did. They killed off the son, they killed off the father who would protect the family. They killed off the father in front of the mother. So she would keep her son a little boy in his ego, and he wouldn't grow into the father and be killed also. So the mother, you put an S in front of mother, the water, energy unfolds from mother to son and then from father to daughter. The mother son is the physical aspect, father daughter is the spiritual aspect, because it has to be a dual balance of opposites, a negative and positive polarity and a positive and negative polarity. So that's why it unfolds from the highest level, from mother to son. It's like Black Mama Universe, whose magic is hidden and exposed to the sun, SUN. And then the Son resurrects into righteous Father Spirit, who redeems the value of daughter earth or daughter character. So this, when they smothered, put an S, the water, too much water smothers the fire or the power of the sun. So that is how an opposite contrast to that on the spiritual level, when the mother smothers the fire or the power of the sun, the father, the air element automatically, or father's spirit automatically abandons the value of the daughter. That is our wounding. Mother smothers the fire or the power of the son, and the father on the spiritual level abandons the value of the daughter. That is our story, in this Willie Lynch wounding, you say. And they said this will self perpetuate unless something phenomenal turns it around. Well, we've had those phenomenals. On August the 11th, 1999, is when we got the fixed cross in the sky. That means all the planets were sitting in those four fixed signs of the zodiac and indicating a reversal. This is on August the 11th. So that's Leo, the fixed fire. The sun, remember, is always the focus. So that means we're focused on rulership, reversing rulership in Leo. So anytime when the sun went into Leo on August 11th, 1999, that's when we saw fire element tearing down the physical, material, illusionary kingdom. The next sign it went into was Scorpio. So we saw water things tearing down this illusionary, material, physical kingdom. Then it went into Aquarius. So we saw air things tearing down the physical, material kingdom. Then it went into Taurus. And we saw earth things tearing down the physical, material kingdom. After 4 rotations of 4 years, all the energy had been released to tear down this physical, illusionary, material kingdom. And then on November the 8th, now notice, August 11th, 8/11, now we got November the 8th, 11/8, 2003 is when we got the Star of David in the universe. So that means all the planets were sitting in a configuration of the Star of David. And the Star of David explained how we were wounded and how we're being healed. So we could step up to this new rulership. This was 2003, and we needed to be healed of those wounds in order to evolve as the new rulers as we went into the Aquarian age in 2013. So the Star of David appeared 10 years before the Aquarian age when we were to evolve as this new age rulership. So it showed the 3 levels of the 6-pointed star. It was sitting on its side. On the first level, you had the father in Cancer, the sign of unconditional love. So in his wounding, he became conditional in his love toward family. And cut it off. The air element is about cutting off. So the father always represents the air element. So cutting off his love and become since he was in the Cancer, the sign of unconditional love, that means he became conditional. And see, Cancer is the planetary. Cancer is opposite Capricorn, and Saturn rules Capricorn, and Saturn represented the father in its opposite sign of Cancer, becoming conditional in his love toward the family and cutting that off. And then on the same level, you had the moon on that day in Taurus. The mama represented the moon in Taurus. There was a full lunar eclipse on that day. So mama is the sign, Taurus is the sign of values. So that means in her wounding, the mama began to compromise her values. This is when she became the slave master's mistress, when she started compromising her value for material goods, you see. So that's how she became wounded, through that Star of David, compromising her value. This sent the energy up to the second level where we had the brother and the sister. The sister was represented as Jupiter in Virgo. And Jupiter is the planetary great beneficent. Everything Jupiter touches, it brings in abundance. So in a wounding of the sister, that means she became polluted in her values through materialism, you see, because Virgo is the sign of cleansing and purification in order to heal in our wisdom. But in her wounding, that means she became polluted in her values, through materialism. And she did not
Mm,
stay true to her brother. Across from her was Mars in Pisces. Pisces is the energy of escapism. So the brother became went into fantasy land. He went into escapism, drugs, alcohol, other women, you see, and did not defend his sister. Um, and then the energy went up to the third level where you had the sun. Of course, on November the 8th, the sun was in Scorpio. Scorpio plays the role of David in this scenario of the Star of David. And because the son doesn't trust the mama who's compromised her value, he has become controlling and abusive to the daughter. Because Scorpio, in its lowest vibration, is about emotional control and abuse. So he's become controlling and abusive to this daughter because he doesn't trust the mama who's compromised her value. And
mm,
then on his level is Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. If you look into your astrological chart, your Chiron is going to represent how you were wounded subconsciously in your childhood and how you had to heal from those wounds in order to help be used as a vessel to help others heal from those same type of wounds. It's
mhm,
called Chiron, the wounded healer. This is where it was sitting in Capricorn, which represented the daughter. She was the only one who would not or did not compromise her value and her worth. That is why she was rejected also in her value. She didn't become polluted in her values like the mama, and start, using skin lightener. She didn't become polluted in her value like the sister, blue contact lenses. She stayed true to who she was, as daughter character, but that has caused her to be rejected by the sun, you see,
mm,
rejected stone. So I asked Spirit, why the Star David? That's when it took me back to the David and Goliath story. How did David slay Goliath? With a stone, the slingshot. We all know the David and Goliath story.
mhm,
And so that represented the sun, SON, or the sun, in this Star David in Scorpio. So
mhm,
Scorpio played the role of David. And this is the reason why they called him the sun, because if you remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, excuse me, the David slaying Goliath, if you remember that story, um, the men could not kill Goliath. So the young boy, which
mhm,
is symbolic of the son, as David stepped up and said, "I can do it," and they all laughed at him. You're a boy. If we men couldn't do it, what makes you think you can do it? That's symbolic of the son, SON versus the SUN as the universal story, you see. So son David. And how did he kill Goliath with a slingshot? Well, I
mhm,
told you on November the 8th, 2003, there was a lunar eclipse, which represented the slingshot, which in the healing is the mama who comes back to her value in Taurus. And she is the one who passes the stone of value to the sun. Taurus opposite Scorpio. Okay. So she passes the stone of value to the sun, Scorpio, which activates his transformation. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, it's water. So it activates his emotional transformation. He then resurrects into righteous Father Spirit, who then redeems the value of daughter Earth or daughter character and lifts her up. That is when the Spirit said, um, the opposite, polar opposite. That's when it explained black woman versus white man. How do you kill Goliath or the giant lion? You simply lift her up, he automatically goes down. This is what was symbolic of that Star of David on November the 8th, 2003. These are the phenomenals that have turned the energy around. So we can now be healed as the new healed rulers stepping up in the Aquarius age, which commenced in 2013. So stepping into the Aquarian age, which is now activating the evolution, Aquarius, of the new age rulers, Leo, in a transformation, Scorpio, of values, Taurus. So this is where that fixed cross is activating that transformation for evolution to a new rulership in this day. It's very significant that I did a with Brother Rich. I did the
Mm-hmm.
show 222222. That was
Mm-hmm.
very significant because um, what it's indicating is on see 12, wait a minute, on 12, first starting on 12, 21, 21,
Mm-hmm.
December 21st, 2021,
Mm-hmm.
winter solstice. Um, 21 is the number of fulfillment or completion or culmination. If you look at the tarot deck, the world card, the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate attainment, the world card is the number 21. So that is what the 12, 21, 21 indicated,
Mm-hmm.
that all we have now balanced. We have completed the physical half of sacrifice and struggle. Energy unfolds through a negative and positive polarity. It's the only way energy unfolds, through a negative and positive polarity. No pain, no gain. And to
Mm-hmm.
the same extent the pain will be the same extent the gain. Always the darkness before the dawn, which means you have to completely get through the worst to get to the best, or as bad as it's been, is as good as it's about to get. Energy can only go 180 degrees before it has to be balanced with the opposite 180 degrees to complete the 360-degree spiral and open up the vortex. But what a lot of people don't understand is you don't blend energy. You have to harmonize energy. You have to balance energy. You don't blend energy, which means you have to complete one half before you activate the opposite half in equal measure. So on December the 21st, 2021, we completed the half of the sacrificial struggle. And now we're going to get an opposite response in equal measure in spiritual reward and spiritual empowerment, you see. So the negative and positive polarity, that's the only way energy unfolds, to a negative and positive. So, but we've completed that negative polarity, the sacrificial struggle half. Not only where you've struggled personally in this lifetime, but all of your personal struggles in all your past lifetimes, and the struggles and sacrifices of our ancestors, all being tallied up on that half of the operation, because that's what's been our investment. And in the same measurement, we've made that sacrifice will now be in the same measurement that we will reap the opposite spiritual benefits of spiritual reward and spiritual empowerment. So the sacrifice has been our investment on what's now ready to pay off in
That's good
opposite
news.
reward, you see. So that came to a culmination on 12/21/21. And then, now we gotten into um, the 22.
Mhm.
22 is a master number, spiritual mastery. 11 is personal mastery, and 22 is spiritual mastery. So we went into the year 2022 after the 12/21/21. We enter into the 22nd year, which is a spiritual year. This is a spiritual year. This is why the 2 2 2 2 2 2 was so
Yeah.
significant. See,
Hmm. Hmm.
so it's energizing. And anytime you do things in threes, that's magical. So we got three pairs of 22. You see, when we
Hmm.
went to February 22nd, 2022. So that is indicating the balance. Two is always balance. The two halves make a whole. So the balance in the magic of this evolutionary process, that is what that was indicating is commenced, you see. So, like I said, that is why we got the spiritual warfare commencing on March 21st, um, where we went into Aries, the
Hmm.
first sign in the physical half, and Aries being the warrior, Haru, spiritual warfare at the physical level. So now we're getting the energy to counteract what we have sacrificed and struggled. Now that has been tallied up, wrapped up, and now it's time to reap the opposite benefit of that sacrifice and struggle as a collective. It's time to evolve and step up out of the abuse of power to this humanitarian empowerment. The only sin there is in the spiritual realm is the abuse of power.
Mm.
It's opposite the physical, where there's a multitude of sins. In the spiritual, only one sin, and that's the abuse of power. Um, that is what the universe is guarding against. This is the story of Set, the father, the ancient father, cutting a SAR down into those 14 pieces or 14 cycles of time. A SAR
Mhm.
represents Sagittarius energy, the ultimate fire, or the ultimate sun. Jupiter, the abundance of power. So he
Mhm.
was the sun most prone to abuse that power. So that is why Set cut him down into those 14 cycles in order to mature and use that power righteously and not abuse it. That's the only sin there is. So Asar now is coming to the fullness of his power after um, learning the principles of righteousness, which is
Mhm.
Father's role. So cutting him down, in order for him to come to the righteousness of how to use that power. Because when our predecessors abused their powers, they screwed up the world. If we
Mhm.
abuse our powers, it's going to be detrimental to the universe. It's going to be so. This is what this whole process is all just been an alchemy process. You see,
Balancing out everything.
yes, how to use our powers righteously before we get fully endowed with Him.
Mhm.
Because if we abuse our powers, it's going to cause detriment universally. So, this is what this whole process has been about. And now we've reached that where SAR now is stepping up to the significance of his full power, having proved that he's learned the lessons of righteousness by the Father, you see. So all this is coming together as the ultimate son of power, comes to his full power as Sagittarius. He becomes equal to
Mm.
Capricorn, the high priestess, and the princess at the winter solstice. This was also demonstrated in the movie The Matrix. Trinity resurrected Neo, and Neo in the second movie, he went internal and pulled the bullet out, and then went back in and massaged her heart and brought her back to life. And when she opened her eyes, the first thing she said is, "Now we're even," which means now we're equal, because she had resurrected him and brought him back to life in the first movie, The Matrix. So now we're even. They're telepathically connected. She's the internal, guiding him through her wisdom, and he moves out as the son and exposes the power, guided by her wisdom. This was symbolic through the Leo and Virgo energy. Because anytime you're dealing with the fire, it's the sun. Anytime you're dealing with the earth, it's the daughter. So the first pair is Aries and Taurus. That's the first level of the sun and the daughter. Then the second level is Leo and Virgo, and that's the role Trinity and Neil played, where you have to supersede your ego, Leo, and open your heart, also Leo, to the value of the one of wisdom, Virgo. Power guided by wisdom. Power without wisdom is futile. But this is the rulership at the physical level that will be fulfilled as we moved out of the Piscean age, the opposite of Virgo, into the Aquarius age, the opposite of Leo. So this is the fulfillment of that rulership where we had to be healed by superseding the ego, opening the heart to the value of one of wisdom. We have been wounded as twin souls. The women have been wounded in their insecurities, being put at the bottom of the totem pole in their value. We become insecure in our value to our men. That's how we became the rejected stone. We've been rejected in our value, which made us insecure. Now we've turned to materialism to try to make up for the value that we have not. We've become insecure by being at the bottom of the totem pole, the Cinderella energy, and then the men were wounded in their ego, and they can't come out of the matrix in ego. So these are the two wounds that has to be healed in order for the twin souls to come together.
How did
And
they
that,
get in their ego, Sister Myra? How did they get so deeply into their ego?
well, because I mean, they purposely did this. They programmed us in, putting the black woman at the bottom of the totem pole. Even when they put us out, naked, anybody could fill us, anybody could have us. We were made to be the least valuable of, and this got the men thinking themselves higher than their women in their
Mm,
value, you see. And, and see, our men are the most powerful beings of the universe. They're the creative powers. The sun is the fire. That's creative power. So you cannot deny the creative powers of our men, you
mhm,
see. So
mhm.
they have gotten much acclaim for that. And now, that means they look down, oh, I'm the prince of the land. I can have any colored woman of the kingdom I want. Why should I choose the black one, you see? So that is their ego wounding. Because the only way we can evolve, we have to come together equal, as equal. Two halves make a whole. The twin souls represents yin and yang. And anytime yin and yang come into equal balance, that's our evolution to the next
Mhm.
level. So there's been a serious programming to keep us apart, keep the men in their ego and the women in their insecurities, you see. So that's why we have to be healed. That's why the mama started the healing in the Star of David, you see, through Taurus energy, the sign of values, coming back to the security of our values and our worth as the high priestess. So, in the universal persona, we're the high priestesses. So, we have to come back to the knowledge of who we are as the high priestess and the princess and become secure enough to challenge our men to rise to meet our standards, and that is his resurrection. But we have
Mm,
been made to be too insecure to challenge our men. Our men were built for challenges. That is what they respect. But we have become too insecure to put them through the challenge, you see. I always tell people if Neil didn't have a Trinity, he would still be in the matrix, you see.
mhm,
Because the woman has to challenge the man to rise. See, Neil doubted his power. He's trying to identify his power through his ego. That is why when they took him to the oracle, she said, no, you're not the one. I don't know what you're waiting on, your next life or whatever. And then she points to the sign above the door that says, know thyself. If you don't know you're the one, then you're not the one. So he didn't know he was the one. He doubted. Trinity knew. And the reason Trinity knew he was the one, because the oracle, speaking through Big Mama, Mama talks to us internally through how we feel. So the oracle told her, whoever you fall in love with is the one. So that is how she was able to resurrect Neil. You're the one because I love you. That makes you the one. Now get your butt up, you see. So that's how she resurrected him from the dead, you see. And then as he's released from the matrix, now in the second matrix, he redeems her in her value by bringing her back to life. That's why she said, now we're equal. Now we're even, you see. And that is what we're looking at, the culmination of all that in the ultimate fire and earth, which is Sagittarius or Asar and Capricorn, the prince, high priestess or the princess. So that is where, when the sun, Sagittarius, comes to the abundance of his power by understanding the lessons of righteousness, he becomes equal to the high priestess at the winter solstice. Sagittarius and Capricorn connect at the winter solstice, which is the peak of the astrological cycle. So that's the ultimate son of power, now equal to the ultimate daughter of character. And that is what will activate this new rulership based on the power of character, you see. So that is what is being fulfilled at this
Yes.
present time. So this is a very strategic time, you know, but you got to know that the
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius age, the sign of I know. If you don't know this power, you don't have this power. If you think they can get you, then you've opened the door for them to get you. If you know they can't touch you, they can't touch you. You become hammer time. You can't touch this. You see. You gotta know that. And now it's
Mm-hmm.
not enough just to know. Now you have to walk in that knowing. It's a difference in knowing and walking in the knowing. I always tell people how when I go up on an airplane, I start talking to the people telepathically. And I tell them how fortunate they are to be on an airplane with me, a royal being.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm on the plane, it's going to be protected. And they will be protected in lieu of that. That is how you're walking in the knowing versus knowing. You have to know your power supersedes anything in this physical illusion, that
Mm-hmm.
you are connected to the energy and the powers of the universe. As long as you're walking in those four components
Right.
of character, righteousness, the passion to defend righteousness, and the love or the unconditional love of the mama. So, as long as you're operating, then you're tapping into the highest royal levels, and nothing can touch you. You know, we're getting divine intervention from our true parents, righteous Father Spirit and Mama Universe. We've been under the auspices of false parents, the father of illusion, the Ma of tricks, the matrix, and the Ma of terror, materialism. And
Mm.
now we're getting divine intervention. That is why they're working overtime to keep us focused. That's how we energize, through our focus, to keep us focused, looking down. A dark winter, food shortages, war, every kind of, used to be the day when catastrophes happen every great now and then, and the whole world was in awe. Now we get catastrophes every single day, multiple times a day, because
Mhm.
this is all part of a scripted illusion to keep us focused low so that we don't go up and capitalize on the divine intervention that's coming in from the universe. So keeping us in doubts, fears, and guilt is what keeps us out of our power, you see. So we all get our blessings through Jupiter, the great beneficent, but it's the planetary ruler of Sagittarius, which is an optimistic energy. That means you have to be optimistic to tap into it. If you're not optimistic, you go right up under it. Remember, spirit moves inside out, not outside in. We're energy transmitters as well as receivers, but it's what we send out. And if we're sending it out 20%, we're spiraling it back at 20%. So they're making sure that we are always in doubts, fears, and guilts and sending that vibration out at 20% so that we
Mhm.
stay low and vulnerable to their attack. If we're stepping up and seeing the bigger purpose being served, what's happening from a bigger purpose, then that is how we keep our energy up. What we got to know, the Aquarian age, is
Mhm.
that the rate we see this reality falling is at the same rate we have to know we're rising in opposition to that, you see. So as we see, anytime you're looking at a part of the whole, that's the illusion. They've kept us in the illusion because we've only looked at part of the whole. Father and son. That's the only thing that's been acknowledged. Father and son. But the key is balance, you see, in order to become whole. And if it's not whole, it's not real, you see. And we're the only ones who have the capacity to become whole because of the melanin. That's what put us at the top of the hierarchy. Because melanin not only conduces energy from the universe, but it also acts as the oil to give us the ability to harmonize energy because you don't blend energy. So we have the capacity not only to pull the energy from the universe, but also harmonize and balance that energy, you see, as the rulers, you see. Do you know the energy of royalty means? Do you know what royalty means? Who has the longest lineage of power? We're the
Mhm.
only ones with ancestors.
Wow,
Let
I
them
know.
tell you otherwise. We're the
Really?
That's antiquity. That's mama's domain. That's the soul realm. They don't have connection to the soul realm. She's the ancient of ancients. She is the melanin component. That's the substance of the universe.
Mm.
So, antiquity, ancestors, they know nothing about ancestors. They're imitating that now.
Right. Right.
But, that means antiquity. We are the most ancient beings on the planet. And that means we have the most ancient, like I said, all color vibrations come from the color black. Original black mama universe, why our ancestors came out as the original rulers. Okay? So that is the longest lineage of power, which is what royalty means, you see. So we are the royal beings who have access to the energy of the highest vibration of the universe, but it's internal. We have to go internal. That's the feminine, that's the earth and water. As you lift up your vibration through your chakras,
Mhm. Mhm.
Kundalini, you
Mhm.
rise through those chakras and all the way up to the crown chakra, where you make that connection to Mama Universe or the whole. You see, that's an internal thing, but
Right.
that comes from the soul realm, and that's where they have the trouble. And if you're not whole, you're not real. That's why we're calling it the land of illusion, because they don't have the balance of that earth and water, you see. So anytime you're looking at a part of the whole, that's the illusion. It has to be a balance, it has to be full spiral in order for it to be whole. And if it's not whole, it's not real. Anytime you're looking at a part of the whole, that's the illusion. And, we're the only ones with the capacity, you know, to bring both sides to the table in balance and complete that spiral, okay? Which is how you open up a vortex and access the vibrations from that universal holistic. This is a holistic operation.
Wow.
That's why you have to first make that first balance with your own spirit to step
Mhm.
into your individual wholeness, and all the rest of the spirals will stem from there, you see.
And is that where we have to be to thine own self be true, to 100% be comfortable and secure in our skin, regardless to what's going
From
on?
within, absolutely. Right now, everybody keeps saying, well, what should I do? What should I do? There's nothing to do right now but to get into balance with your spirit, you see. You've
Mhm.
already done your half. We've done the physical half. We've completed that. We've been the vessel of sacrifice and struggle.
Ooh.
And now we got to let our spirit do its half. It's on spirit now to do its half. We got to wait on spirit. And it's when it does its half. Spirit don't work in fraction. It's not going to
Mhm.
prove what it's doing until it's ready to complete what it's doing or fulfill what it's doing. You always fulfill through the opposite. Two halves make a whole, holistic. So it's like a tag team match with your spirit. You have to do everything you know to do.
Mhm.
And when you've reached the maximum of everything you know to do, it's a tag team match. That is when you tag your partner. When you come out of the ring, your spirit goes in the ring behind the scenes. Two opposites can't occupy the same space at the same time. That's why you have to pass the baton. Once you've maxed out, now you pass that baton to your spiritual half. It will go in the ring behind the scenes and access the energy from the universe to match what you've invested on the physical half. And
Oh,
that
that's
is when it's ready to complete and fulfill your purpose at an individual level. But like I said, this then extends to the couple level, the family level, all the way up, for now we're dealing on a star system level. So all the way up to the ancient Sirius star system and in balance with this new age rulership that is now blossoming. So the ancient power now can come into balance with this new age power. Anywhere you balance opposites is how you create the whole. Doesn't matter what form the opposite is in. Anywhere you balance opposites is how you create the whole. That is the formula
mhm.
of creation. Two halves make a whole. 180 degrees on one half in balance with 180 degrees on the opposite half is how you complete a 360-degree spiral. And that's how you open up a vortex and access the next level of vibration in the universe. And then you start a new spiral, but at a higher vibration for access to the next level, where you start a new spiral for access to the next level. This is an infinite process of transformation, regeneration, and evolution of spiritual rulership. You never get there. You only complete spirals for access to the next. But when you do get into the Aquarian age, then you've balanced on enough levels for evolution to the next level, in a major ascension, and it's
Mhm.
always about rulership. Aquarius is always where we evolve, the sign of evolution, and its opposite Leo is the creative ruler. So they come together. So the evolution of a new creative rulership. Anytime we go into the Aquarian age, it's time to evolve to a new level of rulership in the universe, you see. And that's
Mhm.
where we're at right now. We went into the Aquarian age, like I said, in 2013. 13 is the optimal number. That's the highest vibrational number. You do 13 cycles before you evolve to the next level. So
Mhm.
13 in the tarot deck and the major arcana card, the 13 is the death card, Scorpio energy, transformation, regeneration. You know, um, that is always the key. Like I said, the evolution and transformation and regeneration for the evolution of this new rulership. So we're at that juncture right now, and we're getting ready to see the most explosive of this energy at the physical level as we move from Cancer to Virgo, till we get to the next cardinal sign, Libra. But that's the first sign on the spiritual half, you see, of the astrological cycle, where you get into partnership with your own spirit. We all get into partnership with our spirit through Libra. You see, every last one of us gets into our partnership because Libra is the sign of partnership. It's an air sign. Anytime we're dealing with the air, we're dealing with spirit. But the planetary ruler of Libra is Venus, which is the earth element. So we're talking
Mhm.
about partnership between the spirit and the physical, you see, in Libra. And then, because it's okay, let's start in Leo, a new rulership. It's also the energy of love. And then Virgo, the Virgin Mama, who cleanses and purifies the Leo sun of false values to heal in his wisdom so he can ascend above that horizon line into the spiritual domain through Libra, where he gets into an equal partnership with his own spirit and become to his individual Christhood. And once he goes into partnership with his spirit in Libra, the next energy, Scorpio, is the energy of bonding. So you bond, all the twin souls will bond through Scorpio. Scorpio being the sign of transformation that will activate the transformation, what the Mayans call the great crossover, which will cross us over to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is where we step up to the abundance of our collective power through Jupiter energy, the great beneficent that brings us to our abundance of our collective power. And that's where Asar, the ultimate sun, comes into balance with Capricorn, who has now been crowned as the high priestess and the princess. And that's the fulfillment of the culmination of an operation that's been activated through many, many lifetimes. And we took a mission when we were energy beings. We decided what purpose we wanted to contribute to this larger universal purpose. Each one of us has mastered through each lifetime. I always tell people it's like a great big puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And after you took your mission, your first lifetime was the first piece of that puzzle. Doesn't make a lot of sense. You don't understand it, but you mastered. And once you mastered, it gave you access to the next lifetime, which is the second piece of the puzzle. Then it gave you access to the next lifetime, which is the third piece of that, all the way up until we get into the Aquarius age. And now we're bringing our final pieces of puzzle to the table and contribution to the whole in order to see the bigger picture or the bigger purpose that's been unfolding through many lifetimes. Now we're able to see the bigger purpose or the bigger picture that we've been, contributing. And now it's time to contribute that final piece in place, the one and all in the all in one. Everybody's on a unique journey. That is why we evolve in the Aquarian age. Aquarius is the sign of uniqueness, how we're different. We each have a different mastery and role and contribution to the whole. You don't blend energy. That's been the biggest misconception. I always use the example of the hand. You have a hand, but you have a thumb, you have a ring finger, a middle finger, an index finger, a middle finger, a ring finger, and a little finger. You have the palm, back of the hand, the nails. Each of these are unique in their contribution to a hand.
Right.
Everyone has a unique contribution in their role to this universal holistic purpose. If we
It's my,
all pinned it into thumbs, we wouldn't get a lot done now, would we?
mm-mm,
So it's not
mm-mm.
about blending. It's about each harmonizing, each bringing our own unique mastery and purpose and contribution. I always say it's like the twinkling of a star. And you're only responsible for one twinkle of the star, not the full twinkling. But the one twinkle is just as important as the full twinkling. Because if you're not in position to make your contribution when it's your time to shine, the star is not complete. If it's not complete, it's not whole. If it's not whole, it's not real, you see. So the individual aspect is just as important as the collective. As a matter of fact, we're the individual aspects of this collective whole in our energy vibration. As we all come together individually in our contribution, we're the ones who make up the whole, you see,
Mm-hmm.
the one
Mm-hmm.
and all in one. Everybody has a unique purpose and contribution to that whole holistic process. So That
How
is
do we,
what is
how do
being
we
focused.
find, I'm sorry, Sister Myra,
Yeah,
how do
go
we
ahead.
find our original, what contract we came in here under? How do we, to make sure we complete our contract, how do we find that?
I
Is it a
already
Morse
told you.
code?
The only thing you need to do is get into partnership with your spirit. Your spirit is the one responsible for pulling your coattail and cluing you in. Like I said, not enough just to know. We got to walk in that knowing. So I'm going to give you an example of that.
Okay.
Um, you got to learn how to trust your spirit more than everything right now. Your
Mhm.
spirit is the one that's going to give you the training to step you up to the next level. So you have to learn how to trust your spirit. It's not about knowing, figuring it out, and understanding. It's about trusting your spirit. It can look around corners you can't. It has a broader view. So we have to learn how to trust our spirit. I always say, suppose your spirit comes to you and says, today, when you walk out that door, somebody's going to come and pummel you in your face. But don't worry, they're not going to be able to touch a hair on your head. They're not going to be able to get a fraction of an inch within your face. So indeed, you go out, and indeed, someone comes and tries to pummel you in your face. What are you going to do at that moment? Most of us is going to duck, fight back, or run. But it's not until you stand there can you prove that the power of the spirit is more real than the physical illusion that's hitting you in the face. It's not until you stand there can you prove they're not going to be able to touch a hair on your head or get a fraction of in your face. That is when you're walking in the knowing versus knowing. Now, how do you follow your spirit? Spirit works opposite the physical. Physical spirit is trying to adapt you to an opposite reality. So your spirit is going to guide you in a way that's going to seem bizarre. Okay? It's going to seem crazy because it's trying to adapt you to an opposite reality. Spirit is opposite the physical. It's going to do it symbolically, not literally. So it's going to symbolize its guidance. Okay? But it's going to do, I always tell people the more bizarre you get the message, the more you know it's coming from your spirit. You could be riding down the street with a question on your mind and a billboard will pop up and answer it. That is spirit, you see.
Mm.
Wake up in the middle of the night, add up the numbers, get a numerology message. You see, you could get up and get in your car, be driving down the street, and those same numbers show up on a license plate in a car that pulls up in front of you. That's your spirit trying to pull your coattail. Okay? Pay
Mhm.
attention to those numbers because there's a message there. It's going to give you the symbolism and how it guides you. It's not going to literally teach you, you see. It's going to symbolize how it's guiding you. Here's another analogy. I say, suppose you are going to an appointment downtown and you decide, okay, I'm going to catch the bus to this appointment downtown. But everything seems to be an obstacle to you getting out there to that bus stop. Say your alarm clock goes off late. You're rushing around, you can't find one of your socks. You finally find the sock, and now you can't find your keys. You finally find your keys, you get to the door and it's jammed. So you have to struggle to get out the door. You finally get out the door, you get to the bus stop, you just miss your bus. Now you're upset. Can't make my appointment. Why these things always gotta happen to me? You say. You go about your business, you come home later that evening, turn on the news, find out the bus you was trying to catch has been a serious accident. Some
Mm.
people got killed, some people got injured. That is when you have a V8 moment. That's why my spirit wouldn't let me get on that bus, you see. Spirit can look around corners you can't, but it works opposite. It's going to give you the answer before you ask the question. That is how you know that you've been validated by your spirit. When you realize after the fact why your spirit guided you in a way that you weren't trying to go to or you weren't conscious of. you
The
see.
opposite of what you were
Yeah,
trying to get done.
absolutely. It's when you have a V8 moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why my spirit wouldn't let me on that bus, you see. You can talk to your spirit about, like I said, energy unfolds through a negative and positive polarity. So you can say to your spirit, okay, spirit, my car's raggedy. I'm in a hoopty. I need another car. Don't have a down payment, but I don't have the money. Go out, get in your car, and get in a car accident. Not your fault. Don't get hurt. Now you get an insurance payment. But we so focused on the accident. Oh, I'm in an accident. Not knowing that that's how your spirit has answered you, you see, and got you the down payment. But the negative and positive, I had to do the negative in order to open up the positive. We can't lose with what we have to use right now because the negative is just a prelude where everything gets shaky on the physical end. It's just a prelude as to what's about to open up and opposite from the spiritual end, you see. That is how energy unfolds to a negative and positive. We have to understand that. You see, our spirit is answering us. It made sure you didn't get hurt, made sure it wasn't your fault, but now you got the money you asked spirit for a down payment on another car. Okay? That's just the negative and positive. I always tell people when things get shaky on the physical end, I say, hold on by your toenails. Because to the extent that you endure that is to the same extent that you're going to reap the opposite response, you see, and spiritual reward. That is what we have to understand, you see. It's all a process of, of learning, the balance. The balance is the key to everything in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Balance. Two halves make a whole, holistic. That is what God means. A 360-degree spiral encompassing everything, the whole
Right.
are holistic. And there's many levels. It's not about time. Time is an illusion. It's
Mm-hmm.
all about levels of where you're operating, what level you're operating from as the physical vessel that can access the vibrations from the multitude of levels, the higher and higher the level, accessing from the highest level. So balancing those opposites, that's the key to everything. That's the formula of creation.
That's
Two halves
amazing.
make a whole. You fulfill through the opposite. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, spirit don't work in fractions. I always say it's like the creative process. That's the creative process. It's like having a baby. That baby is developed behind the scenes in the womb. Hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, that baby is developed behind the scenes internally in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get proof that that baby is developing. That's the spiritual aspect, the
Mm-hmm.
developing behind the scenes. You're only going to be delivered that baby when the baby is whole, delivering the whole baby. You're not going to get a toe here,
Right.
a thumb there just to prove the baby's in development because you're not going to be satisfied with an arm here and a toe there. So you're not going to be delivered the baby till it's fully developed. And then, it will be delivered to you. Baking a cake. The baking of the cake is the spiritual. The icing of the cake is the physical. The
Mm.
baking of the cake is done in the oven, behind the scenes. We keep running to the oven trying to get a piece of cake before it's baked. All we get is a mess. If we let that cake bake internally or spiritually, then once it's done, all we have to do is take the cake out and ice it and simply sit back and enjoy, you see. So it's a process. You have
Right.
to do the spiritual is the behind the scenes, and we're too anxious trying to prove that it's happening. But that's not for us. I always tell the story of my brother, who was a Baptist minister.
Mm-hmm.
And he adopted a little boy named Marcus at 4 years old. And he said he went out to wash his car, and Marcus wanted to help. He said, but every time he would soap the car up, a spot up, and rinse it off, Marcus would come back and soap it up again. And finally, the mother called Marcus in to take his bath. And my brother said, thank goodness, bless his heart. He was trying to help, but he was just in the way. And he heard God say to him, now, ain't that what y'all do to me? And this is what we do to spirit. When we want to know, well, if it's gonna work, shouldn't this be going on over here? Shouldn't something be happening over there? But we're just in the way and what we think we know. Spirit looks around corners we can't. It has a broader view. We just need to get out of the way. We've already done our half. We've been the vessel. Now we just got to sit back at peace and secure. Like I said, we all get into partnership with our spirit through Libra. Libra is the sign of peace. So once you pass that baton to your spirit, you have to sit back at peace and secure. You've given all the ammunition to your spirit to do its half. And when it's got its half, it brings it to the table in balance with what you've contributed on the physical half. That is how you complete that spiral. But keep your nose out of spirit's business. It's not for you to know. It's for you to learn how to trust your spirit, you see. We know everything we need to know. It's time out for the books. I know the men aren't going to like that because they're the ones who bring information to the table, but mama is the one who serves it up. And now to bring any more information or try to know any more, it's like we're beating a dead horse. We know everything we need to know at this point. Now it's time to walk in that knowing, to utilize what we know. That's your spirit's job. So let it trust your spirit. Let it prove to you that you can trust it. It is the one that gives you access to the magic of the universe. It is the one that will guide you and put you in position. I say following your spirit is moving out on what you feel until you run up on a brick wall. That's your spirit way of saying, make a turn here. And you keep moving to the next brick wall, make another turn. We keep trying to beat down the brick wall. Oh, I need to get this done in order to make this work. I don't know why I can't make this, I can't get this part done. That's your spirit saying, no, this is not going to give you the outcome you think it's going to give you. And it's the one that's blocking you. Nobody else is blocking you but your spirit. Your spirit is the one that's going to block you when you're trying to go where you shouldn't be going. And it's the one that will open it up as if by magic when you're following your spirit. When you're at peace, that means you're following your spirit. When you're in anxiety, that means you're trying to go contrary to where your spirit is trying to take you. It's really that simple. You could be expecting company and your house is a mess. And for some reason, you can't work up the energy to clean your house up. That's your spirit way of saying, they're not going to come. They're going to cancel. By the same token, you may not be expecting anyone. And all you do, you're straightening up the rugs, you're sweeping the floor, cleaning out the ashtrays. Your spirit is trying to tell you somebody's coming. That's how subtle it is. Following your spirit, you see. But we've been cluttered. Now we're still trying to get information. We're trying to figure out something. We're trying to know, what do I do? Nothing but connect to your spirit. Put your antennas out. Your spirit knows how to reach you better than anyone else. It's been the one guiding you through all those other lifetimes. Now it's
Wow.
time to complete that. Do you think it's just going to pull the rug off from under you at the last stage of this operation? You know, it's all about trusting your spirit. It's the one got your back. It's the one going to pull your coattail. It's the one that's going to let you know. But it's going to seem crazy It's going to seem bizarre, you know, because it's now time to trust. Come out of
Mm-hmm.
logic and reason. Come
Yep.
out of knowing. Come out of
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure things out. We've reached the maximum of that. Now it's time to go to the unknown, which is mama's domain. That's internal, that's hidden. So it's time, to um, just trust what your spirit is opening up and guiding you. But we got too many cluttered signals coming in that our
Mm-hmm.
spirit can't get a clear signal into us, you see. We're
Mm-hmm.
listening to everybody else outside of ourselves when the only one who can tell us what we need to do is our own spirit. So it's
Mm-hmm.
now time to partner with your spirit. Your spirit knows how to reach you better than anything or anybody, even your own mind. Your spirit knows just what tactic to use for you personally in its guidance to you. So just trust it, sit back at peace and secure, and let your spirit take the responsibility of doing its half of the operation. It will definitely
Yes.
let you know when it's ready to complete and fulfill your purpose, when it's matched your energy. You're in
Mm-hmm.
partnership with your spirit. What your spirit is trying to teach you is the results you got when you walked on your own in the physical versus the results you're about to get as you begin to walk in partnership with your spirit. Your spirit is going to be the one to prove the difference in those two
Mm-hmm.
realities to you. So trust your spirit, talk to your spirit, whatever you want to know, you know, um, your spirit is going to be the one to bring it back to you. Um, Especially in the air element, because the air element is the one that represents spiritual energy. Like we said, Gemini, they pull information out of the air because their spirit, is constantly, guiding them and talking to them. And Libra, the second air sign, um, it is the one that proves that partner. Libras have the best partnership with their spirit. All they got to do is put the question out there, and their spirit will go and get the answer, bring it back to them personally. you know. And then Aquarius, the last air sign, that has the highest outreach. It's the last air sign, so it has the highest outreach to spiritual knowledge, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the air element. Like I said, we have all of it within us, you see. And it's about activating all of those energies in
Mm-hmm.
balance, the six axes of energy in order to come whole. And anytime we become whole, that's how we can access a higher level of vibration and step up to, our destiny
Mm-hmm.
as rulers, now healed, and step into a humanitarian rulership. Leo is the sign of joy, and Aquarius is the humanitarian. So it's time for a new, joyous humanitarian rulership in the evolution of this Aquarius age. And, you know, but we've surpassed the point of what we can do in this process.
That's such good
Now,
news.
yes, a bigger purpose is being served. And we're just the individual aspect. We're the vessels at ground level, ground zero, who can
Mm-hmm.
channel from the soul and the spiritual realm and then manifest that energy at the physical level, materialize it. So now all we got to do is talk to our ancestors, our
Beautiful.
spiritual as well as our soul ancestors. And all we got to do is say, hey, tonight I want to create the best music that's ever been played. Which one of my ancestors have mastered in that creative technique? Channel that to me. Let me manifest it and materialize it at the physical level. We are the vessel for that spiritual energy. We just got to know that in order to walk in that knowing, the Aquarius and Leo axis, knowing who you are. But you only get that information from within. Mama speaks to you internally through how you feel from your ancient memory. She is the one that will identify to you from within who you are in the larger universal scheme of things. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, you see. The wounding of our ancestors, our culture, our the wounds have generationally been passed down through our family, the wounding of our family who have passed these wounds down to us generationally, you see. And so now that is how we heal. Anytime we're dealing with a collective, that's spiritual. So we've been spiritually wounded as a family. And now it's time to manifest those wounds in order to expose them, cleanse them out, purify of them, so we can heal and evolve into this new rulership. So that's it. That's the bigger purpose that's being served, and we're just the individual aspects of that. But we got to know that, in order to energize it. And universe is not saving the world right now. It's only identifying who qualifies to step up as a new ruler for this new Aquarian age. And that's just the small cord, the mustard seed, the Zion factor. So it's not the way of the masses, it's the way of the few. Many are called to, or few are chosen. So now it's identifying who qualifies to step up as a new ruler for this new Aquarian age. There's two criteria that judges you. Number one, you have to be secure within. Because if you're secure internally, you don't look outside yourself through your ego and be manipulated to be used against this royal purpose. So that's the first prerequisite, being secure from within. And the second is you have to prove to the universe that you will not abuse that power, but you will use it righteously. Those are the two ways you're judged as to if you qualify to step up as a new ruler, you see. And anytime any of us taps into the higher vibrations of the universe, it's like we're opening that gateway, releasing that energy for others to have access to it as well. So those who are tapping into the higher vibration is opening that energy, to share it with the rest. It's the new rulership. That means we're evolving in a new humanitarian righteous rulership. And that is the energy that will then vibrate to all the other levels. So as we evolve in a new rulership, that's what's bringing up the whole daughter earth. Everybody will rise up, except for those who are purely evil. And that means purely evil, doing purely evil things. The rest of us are not responsible. It's like we've been hit in the head. We've been broken. We're not thinking as who we truly are because we've been under the lowest influence of energy vibration ever on the earth. And not too many people can rise above that low level influence of vibration that most of the world is under, because they're doing it through doubts, fears, and guilt. And they're really using the fear tactic right now. These last 3 years has all been a fear tactic, not real. Okay? Not real. Just to see who would comply versus who would rebel. See? Aquarius is this energy of evolution and revolution, and evolution. So identifying the new rulers by who will rebel against, a fear tactic that doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, not using our logic and reason because we're so caught up in our fears. A lot of things don't make sense about what we've been willing to participate with. But we have to be the rebels. I was the only one, going to the stores, with no diaper on my face. I refused. And it was so bizarre. The only one in the stores, it's like being in a room full of drunk people, and I'm the only sober one, you see.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm 70 years old. I'm supposed to be one most vulnerable, you know.
Yep.
But that I know my power. I'm hammer time. You can't touch this.
Yes.
No
Yes.
of my power, and you can't touch this,
I know
especially
that.
with things that don't compute, you know, don't compute. Okay, so we can decide for the virus who's non essential and who is essential. So the corporate stores can stay open, but the small businesses and the gyms and the churches, those have to be shut down. So the virus knows.
Sister Mara, check this one out. You have to walk in the restaurant with your
Yeah,
mask on, but when you sit at the table, you can take it off.
take it off.
Like,
Come
this
on,
is
does
not
this
making
any
sense
of this
now.
make sense? If it doesn't make sense, it's so not real. Somebody's lying to you. And that became exposed at the Super Bowl because they're battling to make the children do this all day in school, and then y'all go to the Super Bowl in the biggest crowd there is, and you're not doing it, but you want to force your children to do it. So, damn, we sure have a virus that, you know. And then they had the music award. And the music award, all the celebrities in their beautiful clothes and posing with, without. But guess who was standing around them with the trays? They help masked up.
Yes, ma'am. It's
And
just
even Obama's party. And do you know what they said in the news? Oh, well, it's a sophisticated crowd. Oh, okay.
oh,
We have a
really?
virus that can tell the difference between a sophisticated crowd. Don't make
It's
sense.
ridiculous.
Somebody's lying to you, you see. And they're trying to take away your personal rights and freedom. They're trying to give you to give up your personal rights and freedom, for the sake of the better good that they've, what is it called? I can never think of that word, the heroic, something like the heroic theory, where they create the problem only to resolve the problem.
Yep. Yes,
So
ma'am.
it's all
Hmm.
about keeping control. They know what time it is. They know it's time for us to rise up. So keep us indoors out of the sun because the energy is coming in from the universe through the sun.
Hmm.
So keep us out of the sun, keep us indoors, keep us from communicating to each other, you know, um, just see who will sacrifice their personal rights and freedoms and liberties, you know, uh, give all that up for the sake of what they claim is the good for the whole. But it's the illusion, it's the programming, it's the control that they really want, you see. So we got to rebel. That's the
Yes.
Aquarius energy, which is
Hmm.
our evolution as the New Age rulers. We have to rebel against anything that will take away our personal rights and liberty. Never in the existence has people quarantined healthy people.
Until
That is
2020.
ludicrous.
It is.
If you're
It
not
is.
showing symptoms of sickness, you're not sick, okay?
You know,
And
Sister
now
Mara,
they're discovering that, um, you know, that what they claim was going to be helpful was never helpful, never had any benefits. People lost their jobs because they wouldn't, cooperate. And now they're finding out there was no value in that, you see.
mm, 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 mm.
So it's ludicrous what we've been under in these last 2 years, and it's ludicrous as the people who is participating with this, because of their fears. Well, one thing you can identify now is who's walking in fears and who's walking in their knowing. because even now that they've lifted, you're still seeing people.
I went to the store yesterday and there was this man in the store with this. I'm like, are you kidding me? What are you thinking?
Outdoors too, by
Yes.
themselves, standing at the bus stop in their cars alone. Oh God.
Sister Myra,
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. But I do have a question.
Yes.
When do you think we will be able to see the transition? There's a lot of
Right.
transitions going on, but the one that where we feel like we're feeling free.
It's blossoming every day. As you start opening up to the fruits, as you start hearing stories about, you know, oh, so and so opened her new business and it's, or, you're going to
Mhm.
start getting, precept upon precept as people are now stepping up, and capitalizing and starting to blossom the fertility. That's the thing with Virgo. It's the cleansing and purification. In the cards I use is represented as the garden. So coming to the fertility and the fruitfulness of your
Mhm.
power after being cleansed and purified. Here's another thing. When I lived in Atlanta over 20 years ago, I had this vision dream.
Mhm.
And in the vision dream, my brother, the same one who adopted the 4-year-old little boy, he came to my home and asked me to watch his dog so he could run a few errands. He had this great big Saint Bernard. So I brought the dog in. He was so big, he started rummaging through my kitchen, knocking over stuff on my shelves, rummaging through my trash can. And at one point, he jumped up on top of my kitchen table. And I was like, okay, you've gone too far now. Get up off my kitchen table. And the dog started speaking to me. And he said, well, would you please give me something to eat? I said, okay. So I fed the dog. And I went out and I looked out the window. And when I looked out the window, I noticed that there was no blue in the sky. The sky was crystal clear. So I went outside and I started walking the neighborhood, and people started running up to me, telling me, look what I can do. Look at what my gifts are. Look at me doing this. So when I examined the dream, Spirit said blue is the color of deception. The sky looks blue, it's not really blue. The ocean looks blue, it's not really blue. So that's what had been removed from the sky, the blue. That means deception had been removed from the world. And that is why people were opening to their gifts and their powers. That's why I was able to speak with the dog.
Okay.
Remember, we could talk telepathically. Our
Mhm.
ancestors, we have those powers. We've just been bamboozled in the conscious reality, which we need to open up to our subconscious powers, reconnect to our ancestral powers. So that's what it meant. The blue deception had been removed from the earth. And that is why people were opening up to their gifts and their powers. We're at that stage
We are.
right now.
We
Okay?
are. Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
seeing the illusion falling, which is deception. It's now
Mm.
being cleansed. Virgo is the sign of cleansing and purifying of false values in order to heal. And our wisdom is the last sign on the physical half. The Virgin Mama who cleanses and purifies the Leo sun of false values to this physical matrix or illusion. And that's where we're at. The next
Wow.
energy is Virgo, cleansing and purifying of this illusion. I tell people I did a presentation in Houston long time ago. It was called Apocalypse Now. How do we contribute? And I told them in Houston, I said, I don't care what chaos is raging right outside your window. You don't blink. You don't even flinch. Your lack of fear is your lamb's blood, and the chaos will pass you over. There's no fixing it. There's no propping it up. There's no making it work. It has to fall. So Without your fears, you show you have no stake in this. And that's why the chaos will pass you over. Get you a
Mhm.
bag of popcorn, sit down, cross your legs, and watch the show. That's
Yes,
where
ma'am.
we're at.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm
Watching
gonna do.
the decline. We're watching this fall. You know, the Bible even tell you in the last days they'll be throwing money in the streets because it has no value. Well, guess what? Where are we now with the
Right.
inflation eroding the money? You see, the illusion of power, material power, that is the kingdom that's falling. It's the spiritual creative kingdom that is rising. So wherever you're creative at is where you're going to step up in your power. You know, it's the mama bird pushing the baby birds out of the proverbial material nest so they can
Mhm.
find that they are liberated, they can fly, they no longer have the yoke of materialism keeping them grounded in the physical illusion. So transitioning from material power to your spiritual power, and that takes a leap of faith, you see,
Mhm. Mhm.
to step up to your spiritual power, you know, in opposition to the material power. That is
Mhm.
what's falling, the material kingdom. That is that cross of crucifixion on August 11, 1999. You know, the last fixed sign Taurus is the sign, they've turned Taurus to sign of value into materialism so that we gauge our value based on what we possess materially. But the real
Mm.
use of the energy, because Taurus is on the personal side of the astrological cycle, it sits right next to Aries, which is the most personal sign of the zodiac. So Taurus is on the personal half. That means, and it's Earth. Earth is internal. So you have to go internal. That's what the Taurus energy was meant to do. Take you internal to define from within your own self worth and your own self value. You
Mm.
know, in order to become secure from within, the first prerequisite to stepping up as a royal ruler. You have to be secure from within. That is Taurus' job for you to go personally, internal, and define within yourself your own self worth and your own self value. Don't look outside of yourself for anyone to define that to you. I raised my two sons, and I used to ask them if anybody was to call you an apple, would that upset you? You look at me all crazy. An apple? No. Why would that upset me? I'm like, because you know you're not an apple. You're secure within yourself that you're not an apple. And anybody that will call you an apple must be something wrong with their perspective. That should be true of anything anybody says about you that you know is not true about yourself. So it's our job to go internal and define from within our own value and self worth, and that nobody outside of you can undermine what you are secure that you know from within is who you are. So
Yes.
anybody that's going to say anything about you that you know is not true about yourself is tantamount to them calling you an apple.
Mhm. That's
Why would you
good.
be upset about that? You see.
Yeah.
So that is how you stay at peace. That's how you stay secure in your own self evaluation, in your own worth, and your own value, which is internal. That's how mama speaks to you, internal, and
Mhm.
gives you your value from a higher perspective. So that's where you get your security from within. You can't look outside of yourself to get that from anybody outside of you. And when you're secure, you know, then you're not prone to get upset with
Right.
others because you already know who you are and you're secure in who you are. And nobody that tells you any different, you know, can daunt you.
Yes,
So
ma'am. Yes,
that
ma'am.
is that is that key, you see.
Sister Mara, do you have a Patreon?
No, I think I started to get on that at one time, but then, I kind of let that fall by the wayside. But no, because I'm not really. I used to be very much on the social medium, but right now my spirit has pretty much backed me off. As much as I use the internet is my email, and I only do that every now and then. So I tell people don't email me because they'll get lost. By the time I go look at my emails, I've been missed a ton, So it's not it's not practical.
Mhm.
The most I get on is for my email and to do these Zoom meetings. Other than
Mhm.
that, I pretty
Yeah.
much shied away,
Yeah.
from the social media. I keep telling everybody that everything, all the systems are corrupted right now. Um, the political system, the medical system, educational system, entertainment system, the social medias, the news media, all these systems are corrupted. You see, they're
Whew.
not giving you the truth. They're only giving you propaganda right now. Everything that they put out there is propaganda. It's not
Mhm.
real, and it's only to distract you and keep you looking down through your doubts, fears, and guilts, so you don't rise up. You know, to this fulfillment of this evolutionary universal purpose. So they're
Mhm.
trying to keep us distracted. They're the master distractors. Uh,
Mhm.
so they're trying to keep us focused and looking down. We're the ones energizing the illusion for them. You see,
Right.
when we
Mhm.
focus, we're energized, and it doesn't matter whether you hate it or love it. That don't matter. It's just the fact that you're energizing it through your focus. So they don't care if you love it or if you hate it. You just
Energy
focus.
is energy.
Yes, that's how
Right.
you're energizing this illusionary reality. That's all they can do is get us to focus and energize this for them. But it's time for Humpty Dumpty to fall off the wall. He has a
Amen.
fragile position of power because it's not real. And
Mhm.
so that's why he's depicted as an egg. So it's Humpty Dumpty falling off the wall. All the king's horses and all the king's men can't put them back together again. As we take away our focus and we stop energizing this illusion, just imagine if everybody said, no, I'm not going to wear a mask. That doesn't make sense. If there's a
Mhm.
virus, a mask ain't going to stop it.
Right.
So what if everybody stood up in that stance? They could not have done any of the things that they pulled off in the last 3 years. So
Right.
as we stop participating, we got to
Mhm.
stop drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right. Right. Mhm.
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. They have no power over us, you see. We're what's spirit is collective. It's what's real. The physical is the illusion. We think because the physical is more solid, it's real. But the more solid your table vibrates, but the more solid it is, the slower the vibration. And the more you rise up to the higher spiritual end, the more vibrant the vibration. So um, so it's just the illusion of what's
Mhm.
solid, the physical. That's really the illusion. It's only the individual aspect or the part of the whole. The holistic is the real, the
Mhm.
spiritual. You see, so that's true reality. That's the Gemini energy, the Gemini gateway, being able to discern between the physical illusion versus spiritual reality. And you have to get through that Gemini gateway in order to step into your power. So, so we got to be able to discern. This is the time of discernment
Mhm.
of what's real spiritually versus what's false in this illusion. So they're trying to obscure those lines. They're trying to keep us focused on the illusion or the physical, which is not real. We got to step up in our energy vibration to tap into the highest level and capitalize on that royal energy and empower ourselves so that we supersede the illusion and anything that they throw at us. So, but we got to know that.
Mhm.
That's the key. We got to know who we are in order to step up to who we are. If we don't know it, then if we believe they can get us, we can't be operating as victims. It's time for us to step up as the new rulers. You can't be
Mhm.
a tentative ruler. You can't
Mhm.
send your power out and look over your shoulders and wonder. it's going to happen. You have to know you have the power in order to activate the power. So if you don't know it, you don't have it. And if you know it, you can't be touched. So that's it.
And Sister Mom, you have a book. Can you
Yes,
tell
I
us about your book? Because I want
uh,
to put your website up. I know you are booked out until September 2023 for
honey,
readings.
it's into October now. It's at the end of October. So those spots are
Wow.
filling. I can't believe that people are still scheduling,
Mhm.
to this day, and it's out to October 2023.
Wow.
So yes, I do have a book on the website. It's called A Perfect Reflection, A Holistic View. And it's actually like a manual.
Okay.
It's like um, all this I'm talking,
Hmm.
four elements, the royal family. I'm breaking down this type of
Hmm.
information. So it's like a manual because I have people that say, I love what you teach, but I don't know how to express it to others, you see.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this is like a manual for people to understand what I'm teaching. The last two chapters is where it reads more like a book. So
Hmm.
if you get the book, go to the last two chapters and you'll get the story there, and then use the rest of the book as a manual, like a research manual to
Wow.
understand spiritual energy.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but most people tell me the book reads like it's not a big book, but it reads like a novel because they say they say that they could they could feel like they've read 50 pages and look down they've only read 10. That's how the information is compact. You see,
Hmm. Hmm.
every
Hmm.
sentence, every paragraph is compact with information, so it feels like you're reading more than
Right.
because
Right.
it's in the information.
Right. Because it's
So
so much. You have to, sometimes
mhm,
when I'm reading a book,
yes,
I'll read and I have to stop so I can pull in the
absorb.
information.
Yes,
Yeah. Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
absorb the information. So, but like I said, start at the last two chapters. That's the twin soul chapter, and then the last chapter is the musical universe. You see, describing
Mm.
our musicians as our highest agents because the whole universe is about harmonizing energy vibrations. So our musicians are the ones at a ground level that most have the capability of harmonizing energy vibrations. And as high as you can take that vibration in harmony in the universe is as high as you'll bring it back. So our
Wow.
musicians are like self-fulfilling prophets, you see,
You
what
know,
they're
one night, I'm sorry, go ahead.
bringing back. Go ahead.
One night I was working on my astral travel, and
Yeah,
I remember being in, I can't really, I don't know where it was, but I could hear music playing, and there was only other bodies around, but I could hear the music. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to tell everybody that we can hear music when we're in space. Is that
yeah,
true?
absolutely. It's about harmonizing energy vibrations. That's how you tap into the highest levels of the universe. The more you can harmonize those vibrations, the more. Remember the old movie? What was that outer space movie? Um, where
Star Wars.
no, the fifth. No, no, no. It was this movie of these spaceships coming in, and they
Mhm.
were doing tones, boom, 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 boom. The the
Baritones.
yeah, they were doing tones. I can't think of the name of that movie, and I think there's been a recent one to come out um, where everybody was called to go to a certain place, and when they gathered, and the spaceship came and it started doing these tones. They started sending down these tones from that spaceship. That is like, going into the universe is different tones of vibration, different tones of that energy vibration. Um, that's the harmonization of energy vibrations. And the more you can harmonize with those energy vibrations, the higher you can tap into that universe. And see, I'll think about it when we're
I'm gonna
off.
say, was it Star Trek?
No, it wasn't Star Trek. It was I don't know why the number five keep coming up for me on this.
Fifth Element?
No, it wasn't the Fifth Element. Um, Dang, I can't remember. That's me. Details, I lose them in a minute because I'm a conceptual person. So
Mhm,
it's hard for
mhm,
me to hang on to the details. But I know somebody might know what I'm talking about. But this was an old movie, and people started getting weird,
Babylon
and
5. We have another one, Babylon 5. Thank you, Adelia. That's a beautiful name.
it wasn't that. Um, oh man, like I said, I'll think about it once I'm off. Um, but the spaceship, and this was kind of a while back, so, but the spaceship started doing these tones, and
Mhm,
boom, 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 boom. That's how it was sounding as it was coming
mhm,
from the spaceships, and all these
mhm,
people were kind of gathered around. Um, but no, I can't think of it right now. Um, but yeah, it is about vibrations and the
mhm.
harmony, and that does equate as musical tones.
Right.
That's why our musicians are our highest agents because they know how to harmonize those musical vibrations, and that's what
Mhm,
the universe is music,
mhm.
you see.
Yes, yes.
So, tapping into the musical vibrations, and as much as you can harmonize with those higher vibrations, as much as you can access that energy from the universe. And then, like
Mhm,
I said, spirit is spiral. What goes around comes around. So, as high as you can tap into that universal high, is as much as you bring back from that level, full circle back to you. So, most of our musicians are prophets.
mm,
They're energizing through that vibration and harmonizing in the universe, and then bringing that energy back full circle back to them at the physical level. So they are the masters of harmonizing energy vibrations. There are agents at ground level that most have access to that universal harmony. That's what the
yeah.
universe is, vibrational harmony. So if you can harmonize with that,
Mhm,
then you
mhm.
can tap into it and capitalize on that. You can't go up there in discord. You can only go to a limited level in discord, you see.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
you're not going to be able to go very high when you start sending the discord out there in your vibrations. So it's why we have to stay secure, at peace, and in
Mhm,
harmony, when it comes to our individual vibrations. We each have a melody that we're sending out to the universe that is identifying who we are by the melody that we're sending out to the universe, you see. So the more we're sending that melody and harmony to that universal flow, the more we're able to tap into that higher vibration and bring that back to us in
mhm.
reward, you see, as that vessel to manifest the melody of the universe at the physical level, you see. So,
That's so beautiful. That's so
yes,
beautiful.
yes,
Sister
it is.
Myra, your website, does it have a H at the end or is it Myra
No, it
Moss?
has the H. The
Okay.
Myra is my legal name. And then Spirit told me to add the H because I'm on the eighth path. And H is the eighth letter of the alphabet. So it told me to add the H, for my stage name, Sister Myrah. But my legal name is Myra, Myra. So yes, the website does have the H. So
Okay.
it's Sister Myrah. That's it. www.sistermyrah.com. SISTARMYRAH. Um, and that's how you access my website. But like you said, my consultations are out to October of next year. Um, so, but if you don't schedule now,
It's
you
going to
may
be in
never,
2024.
you may never get an appointment. But
That is something.
I'm still scratching my head as to who would want to pay for a consultation that they're not going to get for over a year. But people are still signing up for it. It's amazing to me, you know.
Yes,
So I got my work cut out for me.
you do. You do, Sister Myra. You do.
But
That is a
I
wonderful
love it
thing.
because
I'm
I'm
so
teaching
excited.
people to
Yeah.
step up to their destiny and their purpose. That's the messages that are coming out now. People are coming and getting their marching orders from their spirit as to how to step up to their purpose and their destiny. The message I give to them is not my message, it's the message from their spirit. All I am is the messenger, you see, and usually their spirit will validate that,
Mhm.
that um, I'm just delivering the message. I'm not the messenger. I'm just the messenger. I call myself the reporter for the cosmos. It's not me.
Mhm.
I'm just delivering the message from your spirit. But those people who can't get an appointment and they really need, some spiritual help, all I'm doing is delivering a message from their spirit. They can do
Mhm.
that themselves, you see, connecting to their own spirit and getting the information. Their spirit is waiting and anxious to teach them, the symbolism between them and their spirit and how they're guiding them. There's a special language between you and your spirit that your spirit is anxious to teach you in order to guide you. So all I'm doing is connecting them to the message from their own spirit, and they can do that themselves, you see. So you
Mhm.
don't have to wait over a year to get that message. You just need to tap into the message from your own spirit, and your spirit is the one responsible for making sure that it delivers that message to you. But you have to give it. Gets very upset when you aren't listening to your spirit. Like you said, to thy own self be true. Anytime you are ignoring your spirit, it's like you're going against your own best interest and your spirit gets frustrated, you see.
And you
Um,
build a discord,
yes, you
won't you?
will feel the discord. Like I said, whenever you're walking in harmony with your spirit, you're at peace. And whenever you're in anxiety, that means you're trying to go contrary to where your spirit's trying to take you. So, and like I said, we're letting too many other things interfere. We're still trying to research, and look for knowledge or information when we already know everything we need to know at this point. Now it's just for our spirit to help us walk in that knowing, to help us utilize what we know. So that is your spirit's job to do that and to train you and how to do that and how to step up to the next level. Only your spirit can give you that guidance. But we become too focused outside of ourselves to other people giving us that we're not leaving our spirit. We're not getting that pure signal from our spirit, and it's the only one that can give you that guidance. So it's all about trusting and developing that partnership. You have to give it equal. I remember when I read this Libra lady, I was using the tarot deck at the time, and her um, Queen of Swords, which is the air element, and she was a
Mhm.
Libra,
Mhm.
was reversed. And the reverse Queen of Swords is a very nasty, person who talks trash to people. And I'm like, you don't seem like that kind of person. I don't know why your Queen of Swords is reversed because you don't seem like a nasty lady. And then all of a sudden I said, oh, that's your spirit. Your spirit is angry with you because the Libra air element, very cerebral, has
Mhm.
their best mind. So used to getting by on her own way of thinking because it served her well. So she
Mhm.
wasn't giving equal weight to her spirit to do its half. So that's why her spirit was upset with her. And that's why it came up, in the reverse, because her spirit was angry with her for not letting her
Mm.
spirit do its half of the operation. So once
So
she got
with
the message, she started letting her spirit, everything opened up and, became right for her. So we got to let our spirit do its half. It's an equal partnership. You do your 180 degrees and you let your spirit do its 180 degrees. But when it comes to understanding and knowing, you know, um, that's your spirit's job to guide you in the knowing and the understanding, and it's going to do it symbolically. It's going to lead you and guide you symbolically, toward your purpose. So it's going to be the one to develop the language between you and your spirit, and it's going to be the one to teach you that language by guiding you symbolically, so that you'll recognize when you're getting messages from your spirit. You'll
Mhm.
recognize, when your spirit is guiding you. Right now, it's time to trust your hunches, your intuition, your
Mhm.
inner voice, your dreams, the subconscious. It's time to trust that. It's time to come out of the logic and reason, the knowing, the figuring it out. It's time to come out of that and go into the internal, the subconscious. So
Mhm.
your intuition, your inner voice, your hunches, like I said, the more bizarre you get the message, you could be sitting on a couch with a headache for 3 days and say, "Oh, spirit, I don't know what to do. I've done everything I know, and this headache won't go." And you sit there for 5 minutes and your water pipe bursts. Spirit trying to tell you, go get you some clean water. So this is how your spirit is going to guide you symbolically, not literally. So um, stop waiting for, there's no physical proof, to hang on to, that's going to give you a spiritual operation. You see, they're opposites. Two
Mhm.
opposites don't occupy the same space at the same time. That's why it seems bizarre when your spirit guides you, because it's giving you an opposite reality for you to adapt to. And it's about the balance of those two halves. So let your spirit do its half, and that is to give you the guidance. You don't need to know. You don't need to figure it out. You don't need to understand. Your spirit is going to prove to you you can trust it. It's going to open up the magic of the universe, but it's going to prove the magic so it can prove that you can trust your spirit being able to access the magic of the universe as you as the vessel for that. So anything you want to know, anything you want to understand about your path, put it out to your spirit, and your
Okay.
spirit will be the one to bring back the answer to you. So nothing else for you to do but trust and develop and cultivate that relationship or partnership with your own spirit. That's all you need to do right now. Okay.
That's wonderful. This is so much confirmation of, like, this past week, some of the key points that you made, where I just put a question out and I ask it 3 times and I just let it go. And
Yeah,
whatever will be, will be. And I have to write it
absolutely.
down because sometimes I forget the questions.
Well, that means you're going up. That's conceptual. That's why I miss the detail. I tell people where most people can't see the forest for the trees, I can't see the trees for the forest. I see the bigger picture and then,
Uh-huh.
put the individual aspects in balance with that. But when it comes to the individual details,
Mhm.
I'm just like terrible. I tell
Mhm.
people I can ride around in the car all day talking about the meaning of the universe, get out of the car, and somebody asks me what color it is, and I don't know. I'm clueless. So my details get lost in the bigger
Yeah.
picture,
Yeah.
So, and the more you go up, the more you start losing those details. You'd be like, dang.
Wow.
I was just getting ready to say something and I forgot it. You
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
or walk from one room into the next room, but you're like, what did I come in here for?
That's such good news. That is such good news. I looked at it as, you know what? It's not a big deal, but let me
Yeah,
just write things down. Let me just do
yeah,
these just
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
have my checks and
Yeah.
balance.
Anytime I want to keep something, I got to write it down, you know. I got to write down the details so I can go back. You see, I can't even think of the movie that, you know, it's so prevalent. And it'll come to me
It'll
when
come to you.
I'm not trying to think of it. Then as soon as I'm sitting here, you know, relaxing, then zoom, you know, it'll hit me.
Yep.
Oh, okay, that was the name of that movie. Dang on
Yep.
it. So I'm
Uh-huh.
bad when it comes to details. I'll mess up a detail in a minute because I'm more of a conceptual person. I see the
Mhm.
bigger picture, and
Yeah.
then you know I can put the individual aspects in balance. So I that's how I get my information. I look at the configuration of the planets in the universe and the energy they're sending to the Earth. That is how I get my information. You see,
Beautiful.
so I'm just a conceptual, you know, person in that
Mhm.
way. You see,
Mhm.
so
Yes, ma'am. This has been the most excellent. I thank you so much for sharing your time with me. You have really just opened up so many, I don't know if they're vortexes or portals, but
yeah,
it's connected so many things for
beautiful.
me. And
Yeah,
it's very the fact that I put in the work, now I just need to rest. I knew that I
yeah,
needed to rest, but
yes,
my brain is like, do something. But I'm
no,
rest. I'm gonna just rest in this and
yes.
just keep
That's what
moving
we
forward.
call our monkey mind, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we got to come out of our monkey mind. That's the conscious mind. It's now
Mhm.
time to go and trust the subconscious. You
Mhm.
know, they're opposites. Libra, excuse me, Gemini represents the conscious mind, and Pisces represents the subconscious mind. You see, so it's time to come out of the conscious mind and start trusting the subconscious. That's the hidden, you know, mama's domain. That's where our true powers come from, the subconscious. That's an interest into our Akashic records and our ancient memory, our ancestors who had their powers and now they're trying to step us up as the new rulers and open up those powers to us. But it's going
Mhm.
to come subconsciously, not the conscious
Mhm.
mind. Conscious mind is restricted. It's only limited into how much it knows, you know, before it has to go into the subconscious where that's why we deal with symbols. Each symbol represents 1,000 concepts and we're combining symbols. So only your subconscious mind can keep up with that, you know, expansive operation. Your conscious mind is limited. It's the one that restricts and dissects pieces of information for understanding. And we've come to the fullness of that, which is fathers have. And now we just put a pin in fathers have, where we trust what we feel more than what we think until we put the balance between mama's have and father's have, the balance between father's spirit and mama's soul. They have to
Mhm.
come into balance in order to become whole or holistic. Father's no good without mama, and mama's no good without father. Together, it's got to be the two halves coming in balance to represent the whole, father's spirit and mama's soul. So right now, we just come out of the external masculine half of the operation. So it's time to put a pin in that until we now go back to mama's half and balance it equally in the value that we've given fathers have. And when the two are balanced or equal, that is how we've completed that level of spiral or cycle for the evolution at that level, you see. So, yep.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you so much,
You're
Sister
so
Moss. This
welcome. It's
was
my pleasure.
such a blessing. I'm going to post your website. I'm definitely going to get the book, and I hope to see you sometime soon. I will definitely stay in touch and follow you too.
Wonderful. 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 Thank you
And if
so
there's
much.
anything I can help you with, please feel free to
Oh,
give
well,
me a
thank
text.
you. I mean, I'm already honored to be, asked to, participate on this platform. So it
Absolutely.
definitely is my pleasure to be able to impart this information to my family, because that's what I consider us
Mm-hmm.
family, universal, family. So it's time for us to
Yeah,
step up, and it's my role to help do whatever I can to assist in that. So
thank you.
it's my
Thank you
pleasure
so much.
to be able to do that. You see.
Thank you so much. I
So
send you such well wishes. Thank you.
thank
And
you.
we'll be in touch, and I'll see you online somewhere. I'm sure you'll be
Yes.
sharing some more
Oh,
beautiful
absolutely.
information soon. All righty.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Sister
You're
Mara.
so
Have a
welcome.
good evening. Have a
You
good
too.
night.
All right.
Okay.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.